See, that's all right. We're done with ESPN.
Yeah,
let's talk about
NBA,
a couple other lists.
Hire these ESPN analysts for your GM job.
Yeah, please.
Let somebody else have that job, okay?
Hey, but you know what, though? All I'd say is you look at some of the guys at the lower part of the list, and the Philadelphia 76ers own 3 guys. You know, the Sixers own how many guys? The Sixers are at – they only had 5 guys in the bottom 300. So, Mark, you have a good good little team right there. So,
yeah, well, I mean, you know the Sixers. I mean, they got about 10 draft picks in this draft. So. I guess they're okay.
24 picks in the next 3 years. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, seriously. Whose son? Shaq's son. Yeah, we're gonna get him too.
Hey,
we'll have him.
And you'll trade him for spare parts and chewing gum.
All right, so
yeah, I think we're already scouting LeBron's son. He's like 11, right?
What
11,
about
12 or something?
There's like a kid named with Seven Woods too, right? Seven Woods.
Seventh Woods.
Yeah. Yeah, we're scouting all those guys. If you're in 8th grade, you are on the Sixers radar.
Well, let's switch. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Before we go to break, Carmelo Anthony came out today, actually a couple days ago, and said that he wants the Knicks management and especially coaching staff to hold him accountable for his actions for his actions in general, especially on the court. Guys, we got about a minute and a half to touch on this because I don't really want to touch much more on this unless we got to take it into the break. But do you really believe Carmelo Anthony when he's going to say he wants Derek Fisher and the staff to hold him accountable for his actions? Paul, 30 seconds. What do you think?
Boy. I don't need 30. No, you know what I'm saying? Melo, stop. Seriously, I wish this was like the salary like the NFL where they get to take your money away when you don't play well. That's all I got to say.
All right, well, because we're going into break, and I guess we do need my 30 seconds just to kind of tie us in. No, I don't think that they're going to hold him accountable. Melo hasn't been held accountable his entire career, even with George Karl, who is the king of holding people accountable.
Here we go.
I just don't see it happening.
Melo's quote exactly: "Call it out in film sessions so everybody can see that and hear that. By them doing that, it forces me to be at the top level of my game on both ends of the court. I think it brings out the best in me, and if you bring out the best in me, it'll bring out the best in everyone on the team." I'm just going to leave that right there as we go to break.
It's a great statement. It would be awesome in a 30 for 30 in like 10 years, but it's just not going to happen.
So we're going to take a break here on Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC. When we get back, Chris Paul breaks his finger. Is that going to hurt the Clippers? And also Lance Stevenson calls out
breaks, right?
Yeah, he's speaking of breaks, talking about the break, and also Lance Stevenson calling out Hornets management. This is Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC. Right back after the break.
Southbound on the 417 approaching Lee Vista Boulevard. It is closed due to a bad accident this afternoon. Traffic being diverted off at Curry Ford Road. Give yourself plenty of extra time. Also heavy traffic in the northbound direction of the 417 between the Beach Line and the Curry Ford Toll Plaza due to onlooker delays. If you see traffic problems, call the Safe Touch Security tip line, 866-676-8477. From the Traffic Center, I'm Catherine Davis.
The Open Mic with Mike Bianchi.
I'm a sports radio host and a sports columnist. I'm very, very cynical. I don't believe it when Will Greer says it was just an over-the-counter supplement. Why? Because we've heard that a zillion times. I'm cynical about George O'Leary. I think John Hitt and he had a meeting, and John Hitt said, you need to make the decision to not be the AD anymore because this isn't working.
Mike Bianchi, weekday mornings at 6 on FM 96.9 The Game. Somebody has to wake up that early. Are you looking for your dream home? Or are you looking to move out of your current home and find the home to start the next chapter of your life? Look no further. Jim Fouquet with Century 21 Rue Realty is your go-to guy to help you with all your needs. Specializing in West Orange County, Lake County, and Ocoee. His goal is to take care of you from the beginning to the end and is not satisfied until the job is complete. Stop by 401 West Colonial Drive, Suite 7, or give him a call, 321-945-6832. Jim Fouquet with Century 21 Rue Realty. Tickets are now on sale for the event of the year, Cigars and Cars, Saturday, November 21st. Presented by the Corona Cigar Company, iHeartMedia, and the Premier Auto Collection. At the Shrine Auditorium of Orlando, Cigars and Cars is an evening to remember with premium cigars, luxury and vintage cars, fine spirits, and samplings from some of the area's finest restaurants. Tickets are limited and available at Ticketmaster and all Corona Cigar Company locations. More info online and a link to purchase tickets at realradio.fm, keyword cigars. Brought to you by Dream Rentals, Great Bridges Jewelry, and ShopShipToShore.com.
Listen up, people.
Rich. This is the Rich Eisen Show.
He's a professional.
The Giants in first place in the NFC East. Of the 4 0-3 teams, the only team that has dug itself out of its hole with an opportunity to go to 500 next week, the Chicago Bears.
That's my
with Jay Cutler. That's the team that's dug itself out of an 0-3 hole.
The Rich Eisen Show.
Weekdays at noon on FM 96.9 The Game. Are you looking for a fun experience on the water with your family? Bring them to the Orlando Water Sports Complex, located off Highway 528 near OIA. The Orlando Water Sports Complex provides an experience you won't soon forget, featuring cable wakeboarding, as well as the Super Air Nautique G23, the world's best wakeboarding and wake surfing boat for guests to enjoy. For more info, visit actionparks.com. That's AKTIONPARKS.com. And tell them Full Court Press sent you.
Millions of fans have made the show their rock holiday tradition. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the live debut of The Ghost of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO, presented by Hallmark Channel. Saturday, December 12th, 2 shows at Amway Center. Buy your reserve seat tickets now at LiveNation.com and Ticketmaster. Don't miss The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO. Order the new album, Letters from the Labyrinth, available at Amazon.com.
Welcome to Late Night Parents. I'm your host, Ted Hicks. We have a weekly podcast where we sit down and talk with game changers in the sports, technology, education fields. We even do product reviews and giveaways. Why, you ask? Because we're all parents. So if you're ready for an up-close and personal look, then you can check out our podcast. New episodes are available every Thursday. Catch us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. That's Late Night Parents. The site is latenightparents.com.
Listeners, now I know you've heard of this up-and-coming brand Hoop Culture, which is headquartered right here in Orlando, Florida. But here's something that you didn't know. They are opening a flagship store in Fashion Square Mall, downstairs right in front of the movie theater. That's right, the brand that has brought you the iconic Eat, Sleep, Ball design is bringing their streetwear brand to retail. Stay ahead of the fashion trends. Go visit them online at hoopculture.com or follow them at Hoop Culture. Our listeners save 30% off your next order. Use the code RADIO at checkout.
All right, cut the music. We are FM 96.9 The Game.
We are back for Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC. 407-916-8255 is the number here in Orlando, and toll-free 800-729-8255. I'm your host, Danny Thompson, hanging out with Paul Myers and Mark Johnson of NBAFCPRadio.com. And we just finished the last segment talking about Kobe Bryant, the rankings, and how bad ESPN's off, and how much it breaks our hearts. Speaking of breaks, Chris Paul breaks his finger this week. And he's pretty much the main guy in Los Angeles. So we're talking about Chris Paul's injury. Paul, real quickly, a broken finger this time of year, do you think it'd be something that could be a long-term damage type thing, or is just a simple fluke?
I don't think it's a big deal. Hypothetically, if it was a playoff situation and he had to play, he could tape it up and probably play through it. So it's not the end of the world, but I would not. If he's feeling pain in it, pain to the point where it's bothering him during the game, he doesn't need to play right now. Just let it get healthy. We're talking about a team that people are saying, they're going to be right back in the championship hunt. I wouldn't push it with him. But, again, it's only a broken finger. I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
So, Mark, in this situation, if you're Doc Rivers, do you even touch Chris Paul the rest of the preseason?
No.
No.
You sit him down. You just let that thing heal. And then, you just see how it is, when the start of regular season comes. Of course, you're going to get him out there. Maybe, you get him on a pitch count, maybe, certain minutes and things like that. But, the Clippers have a deep team, so I'm thinking, it'll be, quite a few games, where they get ahead early. And they, should be able to manage the situation, with Paul, maybe playing not as many minutes as he usually would play and still win. So, I would just say just monitor him, but, let Chris Paul be Chris Paul.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't want to risk an injury, going down the line. And we're talking about the Clippers. Let's talk about Lance Stevenson. Now, we talked about Stevenson last week on the show, and Lance does it once, he does it again. Real quickly, guys, Lance Stevenson said that he never felt like the star player in Charlotte. He came out earlier this week and said that, that the team didn't treat him like a star player, so that's pretty much the reason why he didn't really do much. So
he didn't play like a star player. You want to be a star player, you got to play like one. Last time I checked, he didn't play like one. So I'm just like, what more do you want? You can't blame everybody for, what happened. And this guy has a world of talent, but, Lance Stevenson, he's a guy who sometimes cuts it on and sometimes cuts it off. And obviously, the whole time in Charlotte, he cut it off.
Well, I'm going to oppose both of you guys on this. And I know I am. I'm not a fan, by any means. But I think he makes a point. They brought him in to help with offense and play defense. They never really gave him a shot on the offensive end. I don't feel like they ran anything for him. Did he show out with a good shooting percentage starting out to help himself? No, he didn't. But let's keep in mind, this is basketball is a game of rhythm. You're not going to get rhythm if you're not getting shots, not consistently. You can't throw the man the ball with 3 seconds left on the clock and expect him to make a good shot. I mean, it's just not. I don't like what was implemented for him in Charlotte, and then sending him to the bench prematurely. I think it just ruined the entire season for him.
I'm just going to say this very quickly because, like I said, Paul's the Magic homer, Mark's the Philly homer. Of course, I'm the Charlotte homer, even though I'm in Orlando. Real quickly on this one, I'll spend 15 seconds. Did you watch Lance Stevenson play any of the first 20 games of the season?
I did.
Yes, I did too. And so did every fan of Charlotte. That's the reason why he sat the bench.
Listen, I understand y'all's point, and I can see it, but I also see Lance's point. And that's where I differ from y'all. I think Lance has a point. I don't think they really gave him the shot that they should have, being that they brought him in for that specific reason. They brought him in to help on the offensive end as a facilitator, as a scorer, and to be a wing defender. So I just, for me, I don't think he got that opportunity.
You know what? I just mentioned that, we're all super fans, of our teams. So Paul's a big Magic fan. I'm a big fan of the Hornets, and Mark's a fan of the Sixers. And our first guest of the evening is the founder and chairman of the What a Fan Council and Foundation. Good friend of the show, Lowell Moore. Lowell, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Hey, we're great, man. Thank you for joining us.
For those who not know Lowell Moore and the What a Fan Foundation and organization, the show, when it was on the internet, actually was voted, is nominated for the actual outstanding and the best internet radio and podcast award for 2015, and it was sponsored by the What a Fan Committee, and the whole foundation was so great the entire weekend. And I want you to tell everybody who's listening to the show about what you guys do, a quick little background about the What a Fan, and what you guys bring to the table and what you guys offer, and those types of things.
Well, What a Fan is an organization that honors fans of all genres through a recognition award and an annual appreciation event that we do for their contributions to the sports industry. That's the simplified overview of what we are. Mm-hmm. I created the concept over 17 years ago when I was representing athletes out in Los Angeles. And I used to travel around to a number of stadiums and arenas, and after a while, you start to look around stadiums because you've been to so many of them, and you're watching the energy of the crowd and different fans that are really passionate. We did a number of